Us! Here we are again. We are here. This is us. We are doing the thing that we do every 2 weeks. It's been busy. Life has been. It's been a lot. Mostly good. I mean, it's just a lot. So I didn't mention previously. Should have done it last week. I did get to see Sinners. It was fantastic, amazing. My movie of the year. It's not in a very packed field. For me, it's going up against 28 years later and Final Destination's Bloodlines, so it was going to win that contest no matter what. Like, it would have had to been a Stinkburger to not have won that one, but no, it was great. I had a great time with it. I could probably talk for a lot about it, probably more than I ought to, since it's not really a movie that was meant to speak to me, although I do think it has a message for white audiences, and we should be watching it. Everybody should watch it. It's a really good movie. It's a little bit heavy action towards the end of it, but I can't get into it. But I do need to say that I really appreciate the fact that they made the vampires deeply unsexy, except for Mary, but that's it's a separate thing. They're very plastic and soulless and kind of greasy. And I think that's something that, like, a lot of movies that have vampires in them don't really manage to nail. The vampires are always, like, very fuckable in movies. Even with monstro vampires, they're very fuckable. The vampires in Sinners, they just feel grimy. And in a way, they don't look grimy. They look very attractive, most of them. But, except for the one that got, like, the holy water on his face. And okay, look, I gotta stop talking about Sinners, but it's really, really good. Final Destination Bloodlines also had a great time with that. It was fun. I don't know if I would say it's good. I'm not sure I like the fact that Trauma Mom was cosplaying Laurie Strode. I don't think that was necessary. But otherwise, like, yeah, I had a great time with Final Destination's Bloodlines. It was real nifty. The whole Space Needle thing crashing, like, that's a good start to a movie. Just go with that. Go see that too. Yeah, God, like, everything's going on. I got the Slitterhead exhibition, I told you about that, last week or the week before. It was really cool. I like that gallery a lot. It's split into, like, 2 small rooms. It's a pretty tiny place, all things considered. It's not like a museum. Yeah, but one room was, like, just for everybody who worked on the game in, like, concept art and stuff, so it wasn't, like, specifically to anyone. It had this big whole, like, wall with all these, like, prayer not scrolls, but, like, the papers. You got like a little prayer on them, or perhaps a curse. They're all, like, rotted up on the wall, and it was really, really cool. There was, like, in the center of it, there was this really nice piece of concept art of the room where you see that in the game, but they also had, like, this life-size cardboard cutout of Yinue, and it kind of ruined the effect because, like, it's a cardboard cutout. Like, Yinue is super cool, but, like, it's a cardboard cutout, so that was a little bit off. But, like, the character designs, and then there's a couple of, like, concept location bits, and those are really, really neat. I wish I could have read the descriptions. I kind of read them, but it takes, like, a while, even for short things, and I gotta sit there, like, right in front of it, and there was nobody rushing me or anything. I was the only one there, but you start to feel kind of weird after a while, and you want to look at the art. You don't necessarily want to be doing, like, translation. That's on me. It's a me problem. But the other the other room was mostly focused to the work of Miki Takahashi, who was one of the artists that worked on Slitterhead. Some of her Slitterhead work was in there, but it was, like, other pieces that she had done. There was one piece that I really just kind of spoke to me, and I had to sit down, well, stand up, but in front of it, and, like, really, I wanted to focus on it. I wanted to capture it. I wanted to hold it in my mind. It was like a bust, shoulders up, of a woman, short hair, kind of coming around, a little bit bobbish, and, like, from the top of her lip to, like, her hairline, it was all smooth, like she was made out of clay. And I feel like it could be read in 2 ways. I mean, it could be read in a lot of ways, I imagine, but, like, I mean, it could be that somebody has, like, wiped the face away from her, and I feel like there's a little bit of the trailing towards, like, the nasolabial ridge there. I think that's a trough ridge. That it kind of does support that a little bit, but also I feel like it feels very unfinished. And as a woman who's in the process of making herself, that idea that in my mind, that this this woman in the painting would raise her hands and like scrape out her features, her eyes, and shape herself. It really, yeah, like I connected with it. I really want to hold it in my mind. It's so hard for me to do that because words are always in the way in my mind, and I can't just remember things as they look. It's very frustrating. I tried. I really tried. The painting was 180,000 yen, so I couldn't buy it, and it was also too big to put on my wall. But I thought about it. Like, I don't usually see art, like like with the price tag on it, that I think like, oh wow, I really would like to have that. I kind of did, but it ain't gonna happen. I don't know, like who could casually just spend 180,000 yen on something? Like just, like I'll have that money because I'm saving it for 10 months to get it, the surgery. But like, anyways, but it was great. I really dug that gallery. I like it a lot. I'm going to be going back there a couple times next month. There's a few good shows that are coming up. Computer came in on Monday as well. No, the computer came in. Yeah, I guess it came in. No, wait, fuck. When did the computer come? I don't know. The laptop came, and I'm really happy about that. It's amazing. Like, it's not just that the laptop is amazing, although the laptop compared to my old laptop is like, it's a beast. I love it. But just like Supum has gone above and beyond the extra mile and league and fathom and kilometer and whatever units of measurement that you want, just like string them all together. What he's done to kind of guide me through the process of using this thing and writing up documentation for me and like being my guy in the chair tech support for me, who I am, one, very not techie. This is probably something that's pretty clear to everybody who's dealt with me, but also I do have this like pervasive and passive entropy effect that just kind of degrades every mechanical thing that I own, and even the non-mechanical things, they just start to fall apart much more rapidly than they ought to. And it's not that I'm not taking care of them, I try, but like still, the weird things happen with me and electronics and computers in particular, and he's just been helping me so much, way more than I feel like I deserve, and I don't know like how I could possibly say thank you and repay him. So one thing I can do is I've tried to take some of this on myself and do some self-teaching, which is not easy because life is life and there's never any time, and my brain is always, it feels like it's fucked because summer is here, and woof, it is kicking my ass, and I hate that because I love summer. I love summer. I love being able to dress, lightly, even in the before, just like cargo shorts and a tank top and just like rock it out like that. And I love having the sun on my skin, but it is so hot and it is baking my brains. It is killing me, and we have fucked the planet, and that is in turn fucked my summers, and I'm a little bit personally peeved about that. But anyways, I'm trying to learn. I've kind of bootstrapped myself up with DaVinci, just the simple edits, and working into like how chroma works. We'll see how that goes with this particular video, which I should have done on Monday. But on Monday, I went to a asylum hearing for this Filipina gal who's trying to get refugee status to stay in Japan. And, a bunch of us went and, to give moral support and to be in the gallery of the court. It was my first time in a Japanese court. It was underwhelming. Not really a trial, the hearing, it was only like 15 minutes, and I guess it could have gone worse. She was going to give a speech. She had a speech prepared for this, dressed up all for it in like a wedding dress that she found at the local community center, and it was just being given away for free. She's like, yoink, I'm going to take that, which fucking hell yeah. Dressed all up for it, and then the judge was like, you didn't get us the paperwork on time, and her lawyer's like, you said before the 25th, and no, until the 25th, and he was like, no, before until the 25th, which is actually the 24th. So you got us the paperwork like a day too late. We didn't review it because it was late, so you're gonna have to wait till the next trial, which the next hearing is going to be in October. I guess this is standard. There are going to be a number of hearings before there's a final decision that is made. It's quite a process. So like the good news is they didn't just out of hand say no. But the bad news is that like this is a very involved process, and I don't know if she can work during this, like visa status and things like that. I've talked about this with my friend before, but like when we talk, it's usually a mixture of like Japanese and English, which is weird because neither of us is Japanese, and it's generally like at night when I'm really just no energy anymore, and so like my brain jumbles up a lot of the pieces of our conversations, which I hate, but it is just the way that it works out. But I don't think that if your visa, if you are going for refugee status until it is decided that you're a refugee, I don't think that you can actually work. So like you gotta find means of support, and like there is some support that comes from the government, but it's like Byzantine and Kafkaesque to actually like obtain that support and make sure that it continues to come in, and it's not very much support. So like it's a hard process. Japan is not, we talked before, Japan is not a very welcoming place to foreign residents in general, but refugees in particular. I'm really worried that that's going to be getting worse. We had the couple weeks ago, there's the election here, and Sanseido picked up like 14 or 15 seats, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I think they picked up most of the ones that they ran for, because you can't really, as a smaller party, you can't really put somebody in every seat because of the way that they have their the funding laws are set up. It's only like the really big parties with a lot of money behind them, like the LDP, who can afford to just put everybody, like put a candidate in every seat, win or lose, because if you lose, you got to pay back the money that you got from the government for your campaign. So like I don't know how many seats they were running for, but I think they got most of the ones that they were aiming for, and like like I worry. I worry they're very far right, even for like Japanese politics, which does have a bend towards conservatism, but like they're far right for that. Their platform has been very strongly anti-foreign, anti-foreigner. They're kind of supercharging off of a lot of concerns, some of which legitimate, some of which have been stirred up in media, that have been raised by this huge influx in tourists that we have. Japan, Japanese government, their gamble has been for the economy to bring in all these new tourists, but like we're not really built for that. Like even cities that are tourist cities aren't like built for millions of tourists to be in the country, and like we had, I feel like, God, I don't even remember. It's many millions of folks that came in just last year. So, like, yeah, people's feelings are getting abraded, and there have been problems with the way that some foreigners act when they are tourists in Japan, and like that's just magnified because there are so many more of them. But even still, like, Sanseido is tapping into the feelings about that, the very negative feelings about that, and also like this deep thread of anti-foreigner sentiment that has been extant in Japan, and they've been using that to push themselves into power. And I really worry that like even if they don't specifically become the power in Japan, and there are still many steps before they could potentially do that, like there was a poll that I saw a couple of days ago where it's like 58% of Japanese people at least responding to this poll. So there's a lot of like what's the methodology here and who's responding to it, but like 58% of respondents said they agree with the Japanese first policy. And you can imagine what that's like looking at the US and make America great again and Americans first and all that bullshit. Like, yeah, that's like they want to import that type of thing here. They're stirring up a lot of sentiments, and you might think, if you don't know me or don't hang out in the streams, that I am personally concerned with my personal well-being, and not super much. Like, even if you're really poor, whiteness is still a coin that buys a lot of buffer space. So like, socially speaking, at least, like I'm not concerned for my safety, but that doesn't make it okay. It doesn't make it okay that like the Kurds are getting targeted for more police investigation, and that people are being more openly anti-Korean and anti-Chinese, and like that none of this is okay. I'm not okay with this. Japan is my home. Like, I don't love Japan, but that's mostly just because I don't love big places. The most I can usually love is like a neighborhood is about as wide as my heart gets. But this is still my home. And nobody wants to see fascism rising in their home. That doesn't say anything good about anything. It doesn't say anything good about what's going on with the people here, who I am concerned about and I do care about because they are my neighbors. You know, like, I don't want them to be in situations where fascism looks attractive. It doesn't say anything good about where the country is heading. And Japan's fortunes are my fortunes. I'm deeply concerned here. Like, what is going on? And I try not to be overly concerned, but it is very concerning. And God, I cannot keep these things to 10 minutes. I am so fucking sorry. There's just a lot going on. Everything is a lot. That I'm alive. And there's good things mixed in with that a lot, as well as the things that are really concerning. I've used concern too many times in this diary entry already. It's going to start losing all intended meaning. So I'm just going to put a ribbon on things here. I'm alive. I want to say that I'm happy. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm not. But I'm alive, you know, and I'm relatively healthy, I guess. I don't know. Summer's kicked my ass. So, right. We gotta go. Put in a ribbon on it here. From me, Isco, here in Tokyo. To all of you out there, wherever you may happen to be. Thank you. Arigato, arigato, sayonara, see you. And ciao. I did it backwards again. Ciao.